So whether you're doing 1 or 10, you're going to want to do these next steps. Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to talk about how to add new cichlids to an existing cichlid community. This is a really important topic if you intend to have a community of fish, a community of cichlids, and that's because once you add any fish at all, meaning you start your tank, you get it cycled, it's ready to go, maybe you throw in 5, 6, 7 cichlids, and then you leave that for however long, 2 weeks, a month, 3 months, 6 months, however long you leave it. If it's more than really a week, they're going to create a hierarchy, which means that there's going to be an alpha, which most people call the tank boss, and then there's going to be literally a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, etc. all the way down the line is how many fish you have in the tank. And once you do that, if you add a new fish, every fish is going to try to jock that fish for its position. So of course the number 1 is going to go after it, the number 2, all the way down the line, and you can get lucky sometimes, and a fish can survive that process, but it's rare, and that's why there's a general rule of thumb that when you're adding new fish to an existing community, that you don't add any less than 3 at a time. Can you get away with 1? Yes. Can you get away with 2? Yes. The 3, sometimes you lose a fish when you add 3 or even 4 or 5? Yes, because cichlids, this is their nature, they're aggressive, they're territorial, they create hierarchies, and so it's always running a chance. But the first tip to have a successful integration of new fish in a cichlid community is adding 3 or more when you do it. Now, like I said, you can get away with 1 or 2 at times, and here are the rest of the tips that will make no matter how many you're trying to introduce work better. So whether you're doing 1 or 10, you're going to want to do these next steps. So when you get your new fish from the local fish store, or you order them online and they arrive at your house, ideally you rescape just before you go to the store, or after you got home, or just when you know the package is going to arrive that day. You do it in the morning, or when you get it and you start acclimating those fish to the water, you rescape. Rescaping is a huge principle in a successful cichlid community. When you rescape your tank and you move the ornaments around and the plants around, you mess with the hierarchy, because a lot of the hierarchy depends on territory. And even if they reform their hierarchy just the same way, if you rescape it, it creates enough confusion where when you add those new fish, everyone's already rethinking, where am I supposed to be? Where's my spot? Where's my spot in the hierarchy? And while they're going through that, if you're adding new fish, they get kind of integrated into that process that you've initiated by rescaping. If you don't do it before, if you do it right after, that also helps. Another thing that's pretty crucial and that's pretty common when you're adding new fish into an existing community is to turn off the lights. So in an ideal world, you go to your local fish store, just before 4 or 5 o'clock, while there's a little bit of light left in the day. You get your fish, you come back, and it's dark outside, and you turn your lights off, and it's actually dark in your tank, right? If you get a fish delivery, or you go to a local fish store first thing in the morning, you turn your lights off, it's going to be darker in your tank, but with the sunlight and your house lights, it's not going to be that dark in the tank. So that's the ideal, but again, no matter what time of day it is, turn off those lights. That just helps with all the fish relaxing more in general, which is a whole nother video about how often you should have your lights on. But of course, it also helps if one of the newcomers is getting picked on, which is going to happen regardless, right? They're going to find their way within the hierarchy. They have a better chance of hiding, and of course, if the other fish are less stimulated by the light, they're going to be less likely just to be riled up and go after that fish. So turning your lights off is absolutely key. Other than that, you just have to be mindful and be vigilant and watch. That kind of goes into a whole nother principle, which is having another tank as a backup. When you have this many cichlids, and some of these cichlids are pretty pricey, especially at their size now. You know, if you look at my other video about how to pick out a male cichlid at your local fish store, you can score a lot of really expensive fish for cheap if you buy them super small and you know how to pick a fish out of a group of juveniles. But obviously you don't want to lose any fish, so these principles are super important. Yeah, so that's about it. You know, in terms of when you get a new fish and you're introducing to a community, whether it's 1 or 10 or anything between, you're going to want to rescape. You're going to have those lights off, and you want those lights off for at least 24 hours. So if I got them in the evening, I would leave them off, you know, all night and then all the next day, and then pretty much all that night, because it's the natural time to have their lights off. So that would be even, you know, about 36 hours. But yeah, you just want to do everything you can, and then you're going to be vigilant, right? You want to watch, like I was saying, and if you see something happen, you need to be able to take that fish out and move it into a different tank. If you don't have that ability, you're just, you know, going to potentially and most likely inevitably be in a really tough position at some point where you either watch your brand new fish die, or the brand new fish that you just bought is picking on one of your other fish because it found itself higher in the hierarchy, and you're going to watch a fish that you love get picked on and die. So again, to avoid that, have a backup plan. You need another tank, even if it's just a hospital tank, even if it's a 5-gallon bucket with an air pump, until you can figure out something where you rehome it or you take it back to the fish store or something. But having a backup plan is crucial because cichlids are unpredictable and you just never know what's going to happen. So if you have any questions, please comment below. Please like this video. It helps with the YouTube algorithm. And do subscribe if you have not. Appreciate you watching and look forward to seeing you in the next video. All right, thanks so much. Take care.